Good morning. 1 second. Do. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, normally I do this first thing in the morning. Today I am a couple of hours awake. I've been doing something else, which I enjoy, for a couple of hours, and I've already drank a couple cups of coffee. Didn't help my pronunciation of couple cups of coffee. Okay. But the sun's up. I didn't need a fake light this morning in the darkness when I woke up. I did wake up in the darkness. Yes, Los Angeles. No. So I've been reading some social media bollocks. Okay. I want to try and put this into some form of experience-based knowledge that I have of useless excuses. Useless excuses. Okay? Because as much as I want to say, that forgiveness is one of the greatest gifts that we can grant to others. I excuse you. I forgive you. It's wearing a bit thin, isn't it? How long have we been upright? How long have we been doing the same shit? Isn't it getting a bit thin? Come on. Knowledge. So, experience should provide some form of knowledge that will prevent you from being a repeater. It's not Peter's fault. It's nobody's fault. But it is collectively our fault. We do not trust those that we have put in front of us. Oh, you deal with it. We don't trust ourselves, so we elect corrupt people and in a corrupt system in order to excuse ourselves and be lazy. These are not the droids you're looking for. Okay, I did it. There you go. All done. Oi, responsibility. Okay. Oh, excuses won't do. They just won't do. They just don't. It's no good. Right, my experience. I have an experience. Okay, let me try and think about the experience I've had here in Los Angeles. Well, and in my life of 34 years before I came to or 35 years, whatever it was, before I came to the realization that I wanted to live in California. And then being hooked in the Southern California, Hollywood shit system for a while, thinking, I can do things to change. All of these things, it's like for a while you try and play the game and then you realize how rigged it is. And then you step outside of the game and you go, I don't really want to be part of this anymore. but this becomes the everything, so you're not part of the everything, and it's really tough to stand on the outside and witness people doing the same harmful thing to themselves individually, or the same harmful things to everybody by not getting involved in wanting change from corruption. You just keep going, oh well, this bloke's gonna get it. Oy. So I'm fed up of excuses. I just think we ought to start taking a stance, like just really, and you don't have to fight. I mean, you really don't have to fight. You just don't have to support the stupidness. All right, I'm going to talk briefly about the fires. Regardless of the conspiracy theories, the reasons, and all that stuff, it truly comes down to incompetence or intention. Now, I know there's incompetence. I can absolutely prove that there is incompetence. We have fires every year. We have the same situation almost every year somewhere in and around Los Angeles, and it's never dealt with. The fire service here has been, their budget's been cut and they've closed down. There's less fire, and we draft in from all over the country, so it's fine. It's whatever, or even Canada or Mexico. We have anybody that will come in and help us in our natural disaster that happens every natural fucking year. So there's incompetence, because even if it was intentionally set to burn, it wasn't dealt with by any form of pre-planned way of putting out the fire. I mean, so there's incompetence at play for sure, right? No danger. I mean, you're right next to an ocean, and the places next to the ocean all got burnt, and then the mayor stands there, or the fire chief stands there and goes, well, we haven't got any water. It's like, you're stood next to the ocean. Yeah, they don't want to put salt water on it because it'll ruin the vegetation. Come on. Anyway, so, okay, the incompetence. But now we're digging into, well, intentional incompetence. I'm going to link the two, Intentionally, we don't need to protect property. It's all people. We don't need to protect them. As long as we're safe, said a handful of elite people. Was it? There has to be an inquiry. I mean, but of course, they'll find a couple scapegoats, goodbye, and then go, okay, let's put the same people in charge, and then replace those people that we sacked. And then there's people circling like crazy. There's the real estate entrepreneurs and the people are going to try and capitalize on this, because everything is capitalized, weaponized, monetized, capitalized. Call it what you will. Somebody's going to go, we're going in there. I mean, it's Machiavellian to be. I mean, not that I think Machiavelli was anything like. I mean, I think Wikipedia calls him a philosopher, or some form of philosophy. That is no No crisis should go. I can't remember the actual quote, but it's like, no crisis should go uncapitalized, but it's not. It's like, here's the real deal. The prophet has spoken, but it's not the prophet. The prophet has spoken. We have a water crisis in California because we won't build a desalination plant or 2 desalination plants, which could actually service most of the West Coast states and beyond into the desert. So, but that costs too much. Everything costs too much, doesn't it? So the best thing we can do is put the intelligent in charge. Okay, let's put the billionaires in charge. Do you see the common sense in that? I don't see the common sense in that. Those that have profited from the stupidity in the control system are now put in charge of the control system to make more profit. It just, I've seen charitable startups happening too, and they're not charitable. They're not. See, we know there's incompetence, right? Because we know it's incompetent to not be able to deal with this disaster. So if there's incompetence, then surely those people should be pointed out, and the blame goes with that, and with the people who hire them, and the people, I mean, this is a situation. So why we need charity to capitalize, and then, like I say, the vultures now are circling. There's people I know that are genuinely stupid enough to believe that they can build back better on the toxic ashes of this greed-based system by being greedy themselves. You see what I'm saying? The greed-based system that caused this problem is being capitalized on when there's a disaster by people who think they can replace the system with their greed. So let me talk about something that I had experience with. I experienced a lot of corruption going into this. Okay, I'm going to go back over recent things. And I've mentioned this before. We openly criticized China. Okay, I don't want to go too deep into the TikTok ban, but that's a ban. See, our country, that's a free country that allows free speech and free expression, has banned a social media. Just one to start with, because we can say, oh, it was that country's social media. It wasn't. It was mostly inputs from the Western world, and And yes, somebody owned it. What does it matter who owns it? If we're going to be in a free country, what does it matter if another country owns it? Unless you're going to be blatantly nationalistic and say, you know what, I fuck the rest of the world. Well, that's again, it's the same problems, you know. Which, oi, I'm going to take a knee. I'm going to take a knee for say no to racism. Well, yes, of course. Oh my God. The only flag I'm ever going to fly is a white one. I surrender. Stupid people can do stupid things, and they prove it to me over and over and over and over again. And I still keep saying, come on, dust yourself off, pick yourself up, start over, learn from that mistake. But do they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Or I better not sing, I'll get banned. Again, where does it start? So anyway, the Chinese Olympics. Okay, I'm going to go back to that. I worked for a opening sequence series of reality TV show. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was to go out at the beginning of the Beijing Olympics. So, gosh, 2008. It's one of the last jobs I ever did as a production designer and art director, and it was abysmal. I mean, it was the horrible job, and of course, it was there as a propaganda piece to promote the the Chinese hosting the Olympics, and it was to offset all the bad press, because when China got awarded the Olympics by the Olympic Committee, you know, they to host, it was seen as a boon for China, and because you know they're and it's a boon for any country, or seen as a boon, because lots of profit comes into the country because people travel too, and all the sponsors give money to help fund building projects that wouldn't necessarily happen. Well, the Chinese one was a little bit controversial in as much as they didn't really think that the West would criticize them moving an entire city, a town, out of their houses, their homes, and moving them out and building a huge stadium, and you know, the Olympic village and all that for the Western world. They built this stadium that was like a huge nest, and it was a amazing design, and they moved all the people from, and in the West we were like, oh, that's disgusting. A communist country, see what they do? They move people just willy-nilly, they don't care. And then in 2012, only 4 years after, I think, I was in England. I happened to be staying with a friend in the East End of London, and I found out that the local residents in the East End of London, where they wanted to build the big Olympic stadium that they needed to host the Olympics, there were people living there and had been living there for many generations. And what did the English what did the English authorities do? They rehoused them. They uprooted them and moved them 4 hours north, mostly to places like Newcastle. So They moved them out of their East End London, where they've been there for generations. And of course, was that condemned? Well, by a handful of people, but most of the people were just like, "Oh my God, well, the Olympics are coming to London." And then we saw the ceremonies at the beginning, and we were like, "Whoa, is that satanic? Is that, blah?" It's like, so that's two examples. And then we saw in the French Olympics just recently that they've held it in the middle of the city. They didn't move anybody, they didn't shift anybody from anywhere, and they blatantly allowed some weird opening ceremony stuff that was so freaky. And then they paraded the money around. The sponsors were everywhere, and the idea of the Olympics, people competing in a sporting arena for glory of being the best at their sport, regardless of their financial background. No. Even the people that are picked to represent you in the Olympics have to go through this class system of hierarchy and get hired. Yeah, sure, occasionally you get a local hero that comes through and it's like, oh my God, he came from a small town. But you still have to play this stupid game. And it's all a lie. It's all a lie. They're willing to just brush people out of the way. Now let's get back to the California fires. 2028. Where are the Olympics being held? Los Angeles. Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory. Yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't mind. It's just a theory. Will I get banned for speaking my mind about this theory? Probably. 22 minutes in. In a previous video, I talked about attraction versus distraction. There's always, I don't mean versus. I mean, it's like there's a flip side to everything, isn't there? So how much of this is just a distraction from my normal life? Well, not much, because I don't really enter into the fray much. I don't normally enter into the ideas that are bandied around in this dog eat dog world that I live in. I try not to interact with it very much. I mean, obviously I have contact with my beautiful children, my friends, my extended family, and there are some great people in the world that have great ideas, and they're standing to one side waiting for this thing to implode. Well, I think it might be time to just stand up and write your story. Just get up and say the things that are actually on your mind. Like, is there any justice in a system that's so bent on corruption? We swear in a new guy tomorrow, and this new guy that's going to be in the United States of America is not a new guy at all. He's an old guy, and he's an old guy that has a history of greed. And who's his cabinet? Who's his main guys that he's going to put on certain tasks within his government? A bunch of other crony billionaires too. No, I'm not an anti-capitalist in the true sense. Small c capitalism is okay. I don't mind making money, because money is the way in which we live. I make money because I need to eat. I need food, I need shelter, I need healthcare, I need education. All of us need that. But these things can be provided for free by any society anywhere in the world with the stroke of a pen. Just take 1% off your defense budget everywhere in the world, and you can feed, clothe, educate, give good health. All of these things can be dealt with within the system. You know, the billionaires that are surrounding the new guy that's going to come in and save us, the billionaires and him, you know, they could very easily just solve world hunger like that with what they already own, what they already have. And they wouldn't even notice it, really. I mean, it wouldn't make a big dent in their bank balance. But will they do it? Well, no, of course not. Why? Because greed kills. They're interested in killing off the competition. Greed kills. It does, and it will continue to do so. If you don't think the Pacific Palisades burning up and now having a lot of real estate available, and Altadena, which is the other side of me, burning up and having a lot of real estate available, is not going to. If you think that they're not going to capitalize on these disasters, then you're completely blind. I'm sorry, but it's just greed. Whether it's incompetence or intention, it's still greed. Okay. Breakfast time. Oh, hello. Greetings, Nigel. There are no new guys. They all have exactly the same hours. That applies to every politician everywhere. Nothing else is permitted. Yeah, it is permitted. We can say, fuck off, I'm an anarchist. Do you have the same misunderstanding of the term capitalism that most people have? Doesn't matter if it's a capital C or a lowercase. It does matter. It does matter, because capitalism in and of itself is for my benefit. But the thing is, it's not as a principle. I'm not talking about capitalism versus communism versus, I don't like isms, any of them. But to capitalize on your talents, right? Your individual talents is to earn money within a system. There's nothing wrong with that. And I don't mind getting my rewards. I haven't got them, but I will eventually reap some reward from my time on this earth. And it may not be in financial recompense, but it will be of my benefit to serve humanity and make a better world. You know, that's it. So I'm talking about compensation, compensatory capitalism, because it can happen as long as people realize that, oh, wait a minute, I don't need 10 houses to live in. I don't need a fleet of cars. You know, it's greed. It's greed. It's at the core of the problem of capitalism. Do you have the same misunderstanding of capitalism? Anyway, it's difficult to make a point on live chat because of the limited characters that were allowed. Because of the limited characters that were allowed. Oh, we are allowed? My character is not limited. My personal characters. Are you talking about the alphabet? Because you know, anybody can be an authority because you're your own author. Because if you know the alphabet, you can write a book, and you should write a book. But the point is, I have written a book and I keep a daily diary and I make it public because I think it's important that we say what we believe and believe what we say and put it out into the world. If we don't do that, then we're not really contributing to the change in society that we want to see. Love and peace are possible, but we have to make sure our individual intention is for love and peace, not just for self-aggrandizement. And the problem with this system we have is it's built on a silly system of hierarchy, and it's got to stop. Okay. Capitalism literally means that there are stock exchanges involved. The exact opposite. No, it doesn't. Capitalism has nothing to do with stock exchanges. I don't think you have any basic understanding of what I'm trying to say here. That's why the central banks create. There is one central bank, one central bank. Now, here now in the world, there is the World Bank. And all the other banks, little banks, big banks, little credit unions, little capitalist countries, communist countries, that all of them feed into the central banking system, which is a cabal of people that allow a little bit to go out here and there, a little bit to go out here and there, a little bit to go out and there. But as soon as you have enough money to be able to have enough power in their eyes, if you're not in line with their way of thinking, chop, chop. So greed, but greed comes from psychopathy. No, greed doesn't come from psychopathy, and it's not natural. People say, oh, it's human nature. Well, it's only human nature when it's fake scarcity. Fake scarcity. This world is abundant. Everything that's scarce is scarce because of human controls. Okay. For 2-hour personal character, I'm talking about the number of letters. Yeah, okay, I address that. You'll understand what I'm saying better if you read all of my comments before you reply, because they are broken up by the limitation of letters we're allowed to use. Yeah, I know, the chat's crap. And that's why I wanted to talk to you. And, you know, all you want to do is fucking text. And I was like, no, Catherine, we need to talk. If we're going to talk, let's talk. And I'll listen. But the thing is, it's this idea that we're limited human beings. We're not limited human beings. All of us are as powerful as each other. You just have to speak your truth. Come from the heart. Be real. The greedy know they're greedy. The stupid don't know they're stupid. But the greedy know they're greedy, and they keep the stupid stupid. How many degrees of separation? Everybody says, oh, it's only 6 degrees of separation. We're all linked together. Yes, we are all one as a human race. But are there some psychopaths out there? Sure. Are there sociopaths out there? Sure. How do you find a psychopath or a sociopath? Look at government. We're under the mistaken impression that our small acts of goodness and compassion and mercy will ever offset the enormous wickedness in the world. It isn't mathematically possible. The balance is possible. Of course it's possible. You can't have good without bad. You can't have black without white. You can't have light without darkness. But the balance has now tripped in the favor of the darkness. The balance has now tripped in favor of the greedy, have tripped in favor of the evil. And if we don't stand up and correct that balance and find the middle path, we're going to end up pushed to extremes or pushed into depression, which you sound very depressed. You sound like you've given up, Catherine. So I don't want you to keep talking to me unless you start to pick up by your bootstraps and say what you mean, instead of pointing fingers at everything except yourself. You're going to absolutely get into a situation where I was for many years going, oh, you know what? It's going to get better. Oh, it is in and of itself. It's going to get better. No, we have to do something. Actually do something. Write your stories. Your stories are energy. Speak your truth. And I'm over the 30-minute mark, so I'm going to have to stop. But when I'm awake, I end up ranting, and I don't like ranting. I like being peaceful and kind and caring. So I'm going to go and meditate now, pray, whatever it is. Oh, it's Sunday. Because I need to center myself. I'm sorry if I got snippy, and I'm sorry if I got angry, but once I recognize what is going on close to me. And I mean, it is close to me. I mean, there are people that are absolutely 100% going, oh, we could make some money out of this disaster. And some of them are intentionally setting disasters so as they can make money out of them. Yeah, they are. Okay. Psychopathy is a genetic predisposition. Nope. Not genetic predisposition. It's not provable. I mean, you're going to buy into the mRNA bullshit as well, and the DNA bullshit that's being force-fed down us. We're not genetically predisposed to be anything other than human, that we have activated choices about who our character is. Now, there are some people that are mentally retarded, absolutely retarded, and mentally incompetent, and choose a life of violence. I don't, and I won't. All right? We've fed so many lies, it's hard to pick through them. But the truth lies within. And I might be in a box and nobody listens to me. But I'm saying now that they will manipulate absolutely everything and weaponize absolutely everything against anybody that's individually speaking their truth and trying to put love and peace in front of their profits. And I'm not talking profits with a PH, I'm talking PROFITS. So greed is the killer. Okay. We proved it every moment of every day. There's not a single other species on this planet that destroys its own mother. Yes, there is. There are many. I mean, come on. You're an intelligent species. Stop commenting, please, if you're going to just give up. Oh, it's just human nature. Oh, killing's normal. Fucking isn't. Killing has been made normal, or made the norm, which is not normal. Yeah, rubbish. All right, I love you. You love me. Packet of crisps. These are not the droids you're looking for. I love you. Regardless, I will love you. I will always love you. Life is for the living.